Hello, Steeler Nation, and welcome to your Steeler Nation podcast, part of the DK Pittsburgh Sports podcast network and sponsored by Total Sports Enterprises. I'm your host, G. Stryker, and I can tell you who isn't with me today, and that is linebacker Melvin frickin' Ingram. He is gone for a 6th-round draft pick. Now, how do I feel about him leaving for a 6th-round draft pick? Initially, I was pretty upset about it, especially since Denver got two-day picks for Von Miller, getting a 2nd and a 3rd rounder. I was thinking, even though he's a backup on our team, going to another team, a team like Kansas City, they need a starting edge player. A starting edge player should be a 2-day pick, a day 2 pick, or a high day 3 pick. That's what I was hoping for. Unfortunately, that's not the way it worked out. Tomlin, he wants volunteers, not hostages. So it looks like Kevin Colbert got rid of him for what we could get for him, and that ended up being a 6th-round draft pick. So at least from that perspective, at least we got something for him. It's not like when we lost Blunt for nothing. And that really upset me because that year he went straight to New England, won a Super Bowl. Had a big game too in the playoffs. Same thing with Harrison. He just got disgruntled. We cut him. He went to New England. He played in the Super Bowl, didn't win it, but he went to New England on that one. But yeah, I'm at least happy we got something. But I guess Najee was expecting something else when he came to Pittsburgh. I'm not sure exactly what was said to him, but I at least knew from watching the team last year that Highsmith was going to be our starting edge player on the right-hand side. I don't know if the coaches said, well, you're going to have equal competition. You're going to get a chance to supplant him. We know you're a Pro Bowler. We'll see how you do on the competition. Because you got to keep in mind that Houston did not come to Pittsburgh. He turned Pittsburgh down, ended up going to Baltimore because he wanted to be a starter. Steelers did not promise Melvin Ingram to be a starter. I know that's a fact. Probably said that you can compete. You'll be in the mix. You'll be in a rotation. Unfortunately, the rotation started changing. And he thought he was better than Alex Highsmith. Honestly, he's not better than Alex Highsmith. Alex was doing a good job this year for us. He had a multiple sack game, and especially in that Seattle game. And that was the one that really separated the snap counts too, because he was pretty much in the games, in the rotation. He played a game too where he started for Highsmith when Highsmith was out with his groin. I think that was the same game that both Highsmith and Watt were out. But here's the snap counts for Melvin Ingram by game. First game, 54 snaps. Second game, 57 snaps. And that's when everybody got hurt. Everybody got hurt in that second game. Third game, 47 snaps. And that's the one he started. Fourth game, 35 snaps. Now he's starting to scale back. Fifth game, 36 snaps. Then you have that Seattle game where Highsmith was the big boy. 3 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks. His snap count dropped to 17. And that's when you started hearing some rumbling, Steeler Nation. Rumbling about Highsmith isn't happy with the snap count. Started hearing some reports. Maybe this isn't the best place for him. And then last game, 0 snaps. I'm saying he was inactive, probably due to a bruised ego. But at that point, he definitely did not want to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. He was disgruntled. He didn't travel with the team. So now it's time to get what we can get for him. And what did we get? A 6th-round draft pick. I wanted a day 2 pick. I wanted a 4th or a 5th. Got a 6th. And if Kansas City figures out a way to win that division, it's going to be closer to being a 7th rounder, especially if they win a couple games in the playoffs. But still, like I said, better than nothing. Better than nothing we got from Blunt. Better than nothing we got from Harrison. So you got to take the good with the bad, and that's the way it goes out with Ingram. Moving on, Najee frickin' Harris, NFL Rookie of the Month for October. And man, is he a special player. I've been saying it. He's a special player. You watch the film of this guy. He does stuff that you don't see other running backs that were Pittsburgh Steelers doing them. Case in point, every game you get to see something new. Every game. Pass game, we got to see him dive at the 5-yard line. Superman it into the end zone. Completely horizontal on the 8-yard touchdown run. Awesome job. And I've always said, if you want to score touchdowns in the NFL, dive at the 5. I meant it for not for running backs, but for wide receivers. I played wide receiver. It's a big thing for wide receivers. You want to score touchdowns, dive at the 5. Hines Ward was a dive at the 5 kind of guy. Najee Harris is a dive at the 5 running back. And that's how you get touchdowns. That's how you avoid those short, first, second, third, and fourth, and short from the goal, because you're diving to the 5. You're trying to get in there quick. And he got in there quick. And that was an amazing play. And he was awarded with NFL Offensive Rookie of the Month for October. And that is huge because he ended up winning Offensive Player of the Month over another great offensive player in our division in Cincinnati, Jamar Chase. I mean, I look at Jamar Chase's stats and I say, wow, as well. 498 total yards for Jamar Chase, 3 touchdowns, though he did have a fumble. And of those 498, 9 of those yards were rushing yards. So he had 1 rush for 9 yards. Najee Harris, 88 carries for 356 yards, 3 touchdowns rushing, 17 receptions for 124 yards, 1 touchdown receiving, 480 total yards, 4 touchdowns, no fumbles. So in actuality, if you consider total yards, Jamar Chase had more total yards. Jamar Chase had 18 more yards than Najee. But Najee had an extra touchdown. Najee had no fumbles, 1 less fumble. And to me, when you have numbers that are that close, you got to look at what they did each game. So on Harris, each game he got stronger. First game against Green Bay in October, 62 yards rushing, 29 yards receiving. That's 91 yards. Pretty respectable. Got a touchdown. Second game against Denver, 122 yards, 20 yards receiving. 142 total yards, got a touchdown. Third game against Seattle, 81 yards rushing, 46 yards receiving. That's 127 yards total. Got another touchdown, both rushing and receiving. 2 touchdowns in that game. And then we got his game against Cleveland, 91 yards rushing, 29 yards, 120 even, with 1 touchdown rushing. So now looking at these numbers, he actually has 4 touchdowns rushing in October, 1 touchdown receiving, which was better than the number I even had written down. So you had 5 total touchdowns. 5 total touchdowns is bigger than 3. Getting over and close to 91 yards is his lowest, over 120 the rest. All the other 3 games over 120. So let's look at Jamar Chase. Let's see how he was for a consistent basis over those 4 games. His first game against Green Bay, it sounds like, in October as well, because they had a bye the first week of October. He ended up with 159 yards receiving. Killer game. Absolutely killer game. And he had a touchdown. Second game, 97 yards against Detroit. No touchdowns. Still a great game. 97 yards is a great game. And then a monster game against Baltimore, beating their rivals, 201 yards, 1 touchdown. You just can't. That's just an immense game. But then last week, losing to the Jets, 3 total receptions, 32 yards. Added his 9 yards rushing from that game. He did get a touchdown, but that's only 41 yards total. So he had 1 stinker, 2 amazing games, 1 off the charts of those 2 games, and 1 great game. So compare that with Najee, who had 4 consistently great games. Just consistent. Close to 100 yards every game, 2 120s, 1 140, 191, touchdown in every game. Consistency. I think that's where Najee won Offensive Rookie of the Month over Jamar Chase. And The one other thing we have to be excited about, Steeler Nation, this means not only is his production going up each game and he's getting more comfortable each game, but it also means that that young offensive line is getting better each game. That's the big part. Kendrick Green in the center, Dotson to the left guard, Moore left tackle, all three new starters, and they're just getting better each week. And that moving forward is a great sign because obviously nobody was even thinking about Najee for Rookie of the Month in September because that line was having a very difficult time moving anyone in those first couple games. And let's go over those numbers quick. Game 1, 45 yards rushing, 4 yards receiving. That's 49 total. Of course, no touchdowns in his first game. Second game, 38 yards rushing, 43 receiving. A little bit better. He's up around 80-some yards in that one, 81 yards it looks like, but he got a touchdown. Then he had a better game in Cincinnati. He didn't move the ball on the ground, only 40 yards on the ground, but then 102 yards. 102 yards, so that puts him at 142, his second best of the year. Albeit he did it a lot with receiving. We were behind in score the entire game. Couldn't really establish the run. But after that, 62 yards, 122, 81, 91. His numbers are looking so much better on the ground now, and that has to do with this line now blocking better than they have all year. And that's what we had to do. We had to get through September, get through those bumps and bruises for this young team, for them to start gelling and playing as a cohesive unit. And now they're starting to do that. And now Najee Harris is reaping the benefits. And I couldn't be happier for him. I really couldn't. So congratulations, Najee. NFL Rookie of the Month for offense. And hopefully he gets a couple more out of this. I'd love to see him win NFL Rookie of the Year. Still going up against Chase as well. I know probably Mac Jones, probably the other one, quarterback in New England right now. But we'll have to see who ends up shaking out. Could be another person pop up that ends up putting up big numbers too. But if Najee keeps playing like this, he's a special back. He's making special plays every game. That's what resonates in people's minds. When two people are coming down to tackle you on the sideline and there's nowhere to go, except if you do a stiff arm and a spin move at the same time and push one into another guy and pick up 4 yards instead of taking a tackle for a loss or a stuff at the line of scrimmage, that's how special Najee Harris is. And I'm glad he's on our team because I've always seen special running backs playing on other teams. We've had our share of great backs. The other Harris, Franco, is probably the best one we've had. Bettis was a great back as well. Bell had a couple great years. He was a good all-around. He was around 120 a game as well. And it looks like Najee's starting to put up those numbers now too. But I think Najee can do a little bit more. I think he's a little bit more athletic. He's a little bit stronger than Bell, and he's a little bit faster than Bell. But he's definitely more of a playmaker. I love Bell's vision. I don't think anybody had better vision than Bell. I don't think anybody was a better pass receiver out of the backfield in his prime that Bell was. He's up there with like Marshall Faulk, getting passes out of the backfield. But he was like a wide receiver. I'm surprised he didn't switch to slot receiver. I thought he was definitely destined to be a slot receiver later in his career because he played running back like a slot receiver when he's out there catching passes. He was a good, but Najee is a special back. One other thing I want to note, Steelers got themselves a new player, and usually I don't talk about practice squad players. Usually I don't care about practice squad players as much. But Khalil Davis was just picked up. And that's interesting because he is the twin brother of Steelers defensive tackle Carlos Davis that just hit injured reserve. Steelers tried to put a waiver out on him to add him directly to the roster just a few short weeks ago when Indianapolis ended up putting a waiver on him. Of course, Indianapolis had a worse record. He went to Indy instead of coming to Pittsburgh. Indy dropped him. Steelers picked him up. But instead of having to roster him, they just threw him on the practice squad. So Khalil Davis is now on the practice squad. He was drafted a round before his brother, 6th round by Tampa Bay. Won a Super Bowl at Tampa Bay, albeit he didn't get in on too much action last year. but still has a Super Bowl ring. And now he's with his brother. So I think that's cool. I always think it's cool because the Steelers they're the band of brothers. The Steelers are the band of brothers. You've got the Edmonds brothers. You have Terrell playing safety. And then you got Trey, running back. He's been on the team for years, and now he's on the practice squad still. And then, of course, the biggest brothers in the league, the Watts. You got TJ, all-world defensive player, and you got our special teams captain, Derek. So 3 sets of brothers right now on the band of brothers on the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I want to see that. I've seen that before, seeing the band of brothers with the Pittsburgh Steelers silhouettes, but now they should have the silhouettes being the actual brothers on the team, the 6 brothers going across. And that would just be super cool. Injury-wise, Steelers are looking pretty good. I mean, obviously, this is coming out. We have a late week. We're playing Monday night, so practices are Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We only have the Thursday info. With the Thursday info, though, at least I have it pretty succinctly. Where's my spreadsheet? Here it is. Good news. Chris Boswell was limited, and in concussion protocol, any practice is good practice. So he's starting to return. We'll see if he clears. May have to go full practice to actually clear, but him practicing at all with that concussion is a good sign. BJ Finney ends up being new to the list. He has a back problem. He was limited on Thursday. Cam Hayward, ankle, he was limited. And Ben Roethlisberger, still left pectoral hip being listed, limited as well. Cameron and Ben, they're the vets. They're the team captains. Everybody looks at Ben on offense. Everybody looks at Cam on defense. Those guys are playing. Those guys are playing Monday night. I think it was more of a vet. We'll let you ease off a little bit. We'll get these guys some other snaps. We'll get you worked in. Stay healthy. See you on a Monday. And they can keep that, like, both Cam and Ben, neither of them really need to practice, but it's more to the benefit of everybody else when they do. They make everybody else around them better. So right now, the only ones I got to look at, BJ Finney being a possible problem. We'll check and see how he does on Friday. Eric Ebron was the only person that did not practice, and he missed the last game with that hamstring injury. That's not looking good because he already had an extra day off. He's still not practicing. I'm thinking that hamstring is a little bothersome. We'll have to see how he does Friday, Saturday, but I'm not feeling confident for Eric Ebron to be able to come back. And I'll tell you, Eric Ebron is no longer a tight end on this team. Our tight ends are set. They are Pat Freiermuth and they are Zach Gentry. Those are our 2 tight ends. Eric Ebron is Juju Smith-Schuster now. He's our big slot. When he comes back, he's going to be playing, I think, more slot than he will tight end. I don't think he needs to block anymore in the running game unless he's blocking a defensive back. And I think with his size, he can handle a defensive back. At least I hope so. Figure it out. Figure it out, Ebron. My gosh, man. This guy. So on the other side of the ball, we got to look at the injuries to Chicago. Tight end JP Holtz has a concussion. He's in protocol. Obviously, he's got to go through the process, but he's not a starter. Not a big deal. Their starters, though, defensive back Eddie Jackson did not practice with a hamstring. Khalil Mack did not practice. He missed the game last week as well with a foot injury. So he, again, Alec Ogletree as well, another linebacker, another starter, didn't practice with an ankle. And then Damian Williams, their starting running back, didn't practice with a knee. I find that concerning for these guys because they had the extra day off. Wednesday, nobody had to practice. They got a Monday game, extra day off. Mack's not practicing. Ogletree's not practicing. Williams isn't practicing. Jackson isn't practicing. I'm concerned, especially since Mack already missed a game. Williams as well has been banged up. I thought he missed a game too, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. And Steelers are finally the ones on the good side of the injury bug. Knock on wood. Because, man, have we just taken injuries at the wrong time to the wrong people the last couple of years that have just derailed us? Absolutely derailed. It felt like it's been happening ever since we lost Shazier. Always somebody big dropping at the end of the season. But knock on wood. Let's keep them going. Let's keep everybody healthy. and hopefully we'll get there clean to the playoffs in the backside in this back half of the season. 9 more games to play. Questions. It is now time for questions from Steeler Nation. Going over to SteelerNation.com. Sign up for a free account, and you too get to answer direct questions in our thread on the football forum for our podcast here for the DK Pittsburgh Sports Network. First question comes from Cooley Man. What scares me more, Fields' arm or his rushing? I'd have to say his decision-making to become a runner. I don't think Fields is a runner the way Josh Allen is a runner, the way Lamar Jackson is a runner, where they actually kind of like bring up plays and, force them that you're running the ball in this play, we're blocking for you. That's not really the case for Fields. Fields is very smart. If he sees that the defense has vacated a spot where he can get to with his legs, he's going to try to take it, especially if everybody's covered. So this means this has got to be a smarter pass rush this time. A little bit more contained, because he's got the ability to take off on any play just because it's not designed. So that aspect of it probably scares me the most, because anytime he's running, it's not a designed run, and he's very effective at it. So hopefully we can knock him out. Does he survive the game without getting knocked out? I love that second follow-up question there, Cooley. Probably. I don't think we're going to take a big shot on him, but you never know. You never know. I mean, I'm not going to say yeah. I think he's probably going to take a bigger hit being sacked by Watt or Highsmith than he will running with the football, because he's a smart quarterback. He's usually on the sidelines. He gets out of bounds pretty quickly. Doesn't usually run it down the middle of the field. When he does, he gets down. So if he's going to get hit hard, it's going to be in the pocket, in my opinion. Again, from Cooley Man, will that quick slant over the middle make another appearance? I'm hoping so, because the Steelers sealed the win with it last game. That great slant, working the rub route on that quick pick with Deontay Johnson, ripping off 50 yards and essentially sealing victory with that play. Steelers have to attack the middle of the field. We started doing a little bit more with Freiermuth. Gentry had a nice pass down the middle as well. I like to see Gentry's confidence too. He's really picked it up. I wasn't sure if he was making the roster or Rader was making the roster, because I honestly thought Rader was the better blocker. Turns out Gentry right now is the best blocker on the team. He's the one tight end sometimes on certain running sets. So that is a big jump. And with his size and him getting that much better as a blocker, I mean, you can't take him off the field either. Like he's like Matt Spaeth. Matt Spaeth was one of the best blocking tight ends in the league. Did it for us, did it for Chicago, came back, did it for us again. Now we've got Gentry. And funny enough, Jesse James is one of the backup tight ends too. Just speaking of tight ends, Jesse James will be playing if he can find his way onto the field against Chicago. I think he's their third tight end, but he's good enough to be a third tight end. I think he's a great third tight end. Was our second, kind of /1 when everybody's hurt the 1 year, but Jesse James coming back. So can Freiermuth make a better catch than that touchdown from last week? To me, Cooley, I think that was a statement catch. It was a tough red zone catch. I know he's dropped one red zone throw this year. It was a sideline catch. It went through his hands on the sideline when he tried to jump up and high point it. At Penn State, he never once dropped the ball in the red zone. 4 years. Never once dropped the ball in the red zone. That ball should have been on the ground. The ball that he caught for that touchdown, he had a Brown wearing him as a second jersey before the ball got to him. And the ball bounced off of him. He still had the concentration to get his hands back on that football and both feet down. That was a statement catch. That was a special catch. That's like when we used to see AB get flagged, a red flag come out. Oh, that wasn't a catch on the sideline. No way he got his feet down. And Steeler fans just got to see in slow motion how good AB was getting those hands on the football, getting those feet in, tap, tap. I mean, that was just beautiful. And it harkened back to that when I watched Pat Freiermuth juggle, grip the ball, tap, tap, touchdown. Beautiful play. Beautiful play. And it's a statement catch. And that gives him all the confidence in the world. That gives Ben all the confidence in him. I'm going back to you, brother. I'm going to see you in the end zone again. Heck, he's so good, our kicker tried to go to him. Unfortunately, couldn't get that one for the touchdown. Unfortunately, our kicker lost consciousness. But at least hopefully he'll be back. Boz, we love you. And man, at least you got to survey the field on that play. If nothing else, you took your time, you surveyed the field. And don't forget, Steeler Nation, he does have a touchdown pass already. He threw one at the end of the half to the Raiders, against the Raiders, to Alejandro Villanueva. Touchdown at the end of the half. When we weren't going to come out the next series, I don't think, with the ball. We were already down 10-3 instead of being down 10-6, not having ball coming out. We tied it up 10-10. I think we ended up losing that game. It's the Raiders. We always lose to them for some stupid reason. Matt Insomniac, next question coming off the bat from Steeler Nation. Is arming a playoff competition and future opponent worth a sixth? Arming Kansas City, future playoff opponent, potentially playoff opponent. Right now, Kansas City's got to worry about their division. Because right now, they're kind of like where we are. We're like third place in our division. We found a way to eke back into our division, starting off 1-3. Everybody else starting 3-1. Now we're a game behind the Ravens, half game behind Cincinnati, half game ahead of the Browns. And that's pretty much where Kansas City finds itself as well. They're tied with Denver, about a game or game and a half behind San Diego and Las Vegas. So, San Diego, sorry, LA. I can't say damn Chargers, pick a city. Damn Raiders, pick a city. Damn division, pick a city. That damn division. All right, but anyway, as far as I'm saying, yeah, they're a potential playoff opponent if they make it to the playoffs, but they've got a lot more problems on defense than just needing a pass rusher. And looking at his numbers, is he a pass rusher anymore? But I'd venture to say Melvin Ingram really isn't that much of a productive outside linebacker for being an all-around outside linebacker. Yeah, he can rush the quarterback. He's good at getting pressure. He can get you a sack. I don't think he can help you at all in the passing game. I don't think he helps you much in the running game. He at least has a sack this year. He didn't get a sack all last year. He's coming off of what he used to be a great player. So is he going to hurt the Steelers? I don't think he's going to hurt the Steelers as much as losing Blunt the year we lost Blunt, especially when Bell went down right after that. If we still had Blunt, he would have been able to help us through the playoffs. And Harrison. I think Harrison was a better player than Ingram then and now. I don't think Ingram's going to have a multi-sack game. I don't know. He could. I'm not betting on it, but he could. He could have a multi-sack game. I'm just not betting on it. Not betting on it. Next question. Coming from Slash Steel. Now that the trade deadline is over, will Cleveland still consider trading its two number ones? Probably not. It'll save them till draft day. It'll be like that movie where they trade, where the Cleveland can only look good by trading out of the first top pick of the draft to trade back up and get who they wanted anyway, who still seemed like a douchebag quarterback. Kind of reminded me of the Johnny Manziel trade. They're picking him up. Johnny football. Because they'd find a way to crap on it anyway. So, yeah, no. Deshaun Jackson was just cut by the Rams. Should we break out the template? The template, Steeler Nation, being X player is now available. He'd look good in black and gold because of X, Y, and Z. Deshaun Jackson, to me, is Mike Wallace. He's a Z receiver. He's a deep threat. He's a shorter receiver, but he has excellent top-end speed. So he's like that one-trick pony that's really good at the trick that he's good at, which is what Tomlin always called Mike Wallace, one-trick pony. But it was the best trick that we had on that team, and he was always open deep. Deshaun Jackson could do that for you. The problem is he's a Z receiver. Who's our starting Z receiver? Claypool. Is he better than Claypool? Not at this point of his career. I wouldn't take Claypool off the field for him. So, only problem is the other Z receiver that we have, Washington. Washington also can only play Z. We tried him at the X, he sucked. We tried him in the slot. He looks lost. He can't separate. And in the X, you get all the targets. Couldn't separate, couldn't get targets. Or couldn't catch the ball because he couldn't separate. Not like Deontay Johnson, who's awesome at separation. That's an X receiver. Slot guy's got to be skittish, got to be able to get open with quickness or use his size to wrestle down balls. And he's good at competition and contested catches. Problem is, that's not his thing. He's good at creating. He's got that deceptive speed. He takes a while to build up speed. He's good at getting open deep. That's what he is. So Deshaun Jackson, there's no place for him to go on this team. I'll even extend that to OBJ as well. I think OBJ might possibly be able to play big slot on this team, but the way he one-armed that ball down the middle, that could have won them the game in Cleveland. And that's a game I've seen him go up high point with two hands, no problem. He kind of half-assedly threw up that one arm. Boop. Nope. Not going to go after this one, Baker. To me, that's a guy with no heart. I don't want a guy with no heart on the team anymore. I know Tomlin was super high on him for the draft year. And if he would have slid, we probably would have tried to get him. I mean, he's a hell of a talent. Don't get me wrong. But if he's hurt or if he's playing in his head like he doesn't want to take a hit over the middle, I don't want him at big slot. I'd rather try to take a flyer on somebody like Larry Fitzgerald, because that guy would catch a ball anywhere. And he can, because his hands were some of the best I've ever seen in this game. Absolutely great receiver. And Slash Steel has one more question that is forum related. Is Bob still down in the dumps about the Factory of Sadness' loss? I'm the one that called out Bob. Poor Bob hasn't been back to the Steeler forum since I called him out for being a Browns fan. When he was trying to pretend, hey, I'm a Steeler fans guy, but he led with, I got kicked off this other Steeler site. Well, you probably got kicked off because you're a troll and you're a Browns fan. So, tried to make some threads the week of the game. Oh, I'm scared of the Browns because of this. Scared of the Browns because of that. What did I say? That's exactly what he was going to do. He did it. And then what happens after they lost? Crickets. Nowhere to be seen, Bob. Bob will see it Thanksgiving if you think your Brownies have a chance again. Because we don't even have to cut you out off the team. It's just the way it is. Last question from Slash Steel. Let's do the time warp again. Take a step to the left. Will Steelers struggle against the almighty Grizzly? The damn Bears have our number. That is something I can't stand, Slash. 2017, we lost to them in overtime. That was that other game that we had a field goal run back for a touchdown and we got called back on the technicality. And they ended up getting to kick it again at the end of the half to get extra points, which made it so they had enough points to get to overtime. And we lost in overtime. They were 5-11. We were 13-3. That's probably our worst loss record-wise to the Bears. 4 years prior, 2013, we lost 40-23. Both teams were 8-8. Got our butts kicked. 2019 lost again, 17-14, close game. Steelers that year were 9-7. Chicago was 7-9. 2005 was the last time we ever beat the Chicago Bears. And that was the great snow game with Bettis and the line of scrimmage and Bill Cowher committing back to the run. Bettis rolling over Urlacher at the goal line for the touchdown, winning 21-9, being the first of our string of consecutive wins all the way through to the Super Bowl that year. Both teams finished 11-5. Steelers ended up with a championship. So what does that mean, Steeler Nation? It means if the Steelers win this game, we're winning a Super Bowl. Mark it down. We got to win this game. That's the kind of stats I like. but I'd like to at least see the market improvement of the running game. We controlled both lines of scrimmage last week against Cleveland, who is very good, both on their offensive and defensive lines. We can do the same to Chicago. We're going to go a long way, and this might be a laugher. That would be nice to see. Bermuda Steel, welcome to the questions, man. Call you Utah Steel now. Bermuda Steel asked, Jalen Smith was released by Green Bay. Is he better than Spillane? Green Bay signed him for vet minimum. Should we take a flyer on him? And I did a little looking up on Jalen Smith. And at least for this season, I don't know if he's better than Spillane. He started 2 games. He's got 19 tackles, no sacks, of course. Well, the inside linebackers. But he is a tackle machine. I mean, previous year, 154 tackles, 142 tackles, 121 tackles. Pro Bowler 2 years ago in 2019. I can see why you like him. 9 career sacks, 9 in 3 years. So not too bad there. Obviously none this year. Let's look at Spillane. What's at least Spillane doing this year? He's doing really well in special teams. He's got 1 more tackle, 1 less start, 20 tackles. He's got a TFL. They're comparable. I'd say these guys are comparable. No sacks also. Though he's got a touchdown return for or an interception return for a touchdown and 2 sacks last year. He had a good game when he started against. He started 7 games last year for us, and he was good until he got hurt as well. I personally like Spillane in our system. I like the way that they're rotating him in. They're keeping all 3 inside linebackers fresh. So, could they have an upgrade? They could. Are the Steelers going to make that move? I don't think they need to. I really don't think they have to make that move. So right now, I'd say no. They could add him to the practice squad if he clears waivers. That would be the path to get on this team. And is he better than a practice squad inside linebackers? Hell yes. Hell yes, Berm. I say yes. So let's see if we do take a flyer on him that way. That's how you take a flyer in this NFL now. You throw him on your practice squad. You don't pay him real money. Litos from Venezuela. Venezuela. I guess pronounce it correctly. Analysis of Taco's first game. I saw him very slow off the snap, especially compared to Highsmith. Well, yeah. I mean, compared to Highsmith, well, though Highsmith was drafted in the 3rd round, Taco was a 1st rounder. You'd expect better twitch, quicker twitch athlete out of a 1st rounder than a 3rd rounder, but small school guy. He was quick twitch. Highsmith was quick twitch coming off the line still in college. That's why he had a high floor. He had a much higher floor than Bud Dupree. Like, we're seeing him make plays already in his 2nd year. 1st year as a starter. He gets off the snap very quickly and times the snap incredibly quickly. He's a student of the game, works very hard with TJ Watt, and they get to do it a lot. Taco got thrust into action because Ingram wasn't going to play. Ingram was hurt. He had hurt feelings. So he was out with hurt feelings. He came in and played. I thought he did okay. I mean, he only had 10 snaps on defense. He was around the football on the big Joe Schobert fumble. That's the only time I really noticed him on the field. I didn't really notice his get off. I wasn't looking at him at the line of scrimmage to see how he's doing rushing the passer. But he didn't really have to be that. And also one note I wanted to make about trading Ingram is we're not really a 3-man rotation outside linebacker team anymore. We were when we started. I said his snap counts were way high those first 4 or 5 games. Seattle game hits, he drops down to 17 snaps. He's completely healthy. What gives? It's because Watt and Highsmith now are so good, you don't want to take them off the field. And they're getting stronger as the game goes on. If they're getting tired, yeah, rotate in some other people. TJ Watt got better in overtime than he was the entire game in Seattle. That's where he picked up his 2 sacks and put a ball on the ground to win the game for us. You never take TJ off the field. So Highsmith made it to a point. Hey, you think you're better than me, but you're not. Ingram can't get off the ball like Highsmith. Highsmith's faster than we get him off the ball. He plays the run better than him too. So that's where it comes down to. Taco is there strictly for depth. I want to see him do better and keep playing, and hopefully he has a good year. That's basically what it is. Black and Gold Bleeder. When do we get to see what Carl Joseph has? Yesterday is what I hope. I've been calling for Joseph for weeks. How do I compare Joseph versus Edmonds? Black and gold. I think Edmonds is just a guy. He's out there. He takes up space. He makes some plays. He did hit the hole hard on the one play and then got pushed back 2 yards, but he hit the hole and he did fill the hole and stop it. And it wasn't for a first down or anything. It did stop it to a short game of 2 yards as opposed to it being on a 3rd and short or 4th and short. So I'm not going to crap on him for it. But I want to see more out of Edmonds. He's a first rounder. I expect to see plays out. I expect him to be a playmaker. I expect 5-6 times a year him to make a game-changing play. Right now, we're lucky to get one out of him a year. 1, 2. And if that. So I expect more out of him. When we're looking at their numbers, this was an interesting thing because I did a comparison between Carl Joseph and Terrell Edmonds. And basically, I just looked at their career numbers, see where they're at. Here's Edmonds' numbers. 4 years playing. And now they're comparable only because Carl Joseph started, he's been playing for 6 years. Edmonds has been playing for 4 years, but their numbers are very close in games started. Edmonds has 50 games started, and he's counting. Carl Joseph has 49 games starting. So you're talking about a 1-game difference. Very comparable numbers now if we're going from there. Edmonds has 4 interceptions. I'm surprised. I only remember 2. He's got 4 interceptions. That's pretty good. Averaging 1 a year. 16 passes defensed. 289 tackles. He's got 1 year we had 105. So pretty decent tackler. Not a lot of tackles for losses, though. 7 total. Let's go over, check out Carl Joseph in his 49 starts. In his 49 starts for his career, 5 interceptions, 1 more than Edmonds. 19 passes defensed, comparable. That's comparable to Edmonds in his 16. Only 3 more. 1 forced fumble, though. I'm surprised Edmonds doesn't have a forced fumble. He's got 1 fumble recovery in his rookie season, but no forced fumbles. He's got a forced fumble, and he has 5 recoveries. 3 sacks by Carl Joseph as well, so you can blitz him. None for Edmonds. Tackle-wise, never close to 100 yards. So right now, his highest was 79. He's got a 67, a 79, and a 60. But that was the only year he was healthy, really, was the one he had 79. 79, 69, it's 67. Yeah, I mean, Edmonds has 3 years essentially as good as his as his best. So Edmonds is probably the better tackler. Looks to me like Joseph is more of a playmaker. 11 tackles for loss. That's comparable to Edmonds having 7. Well, it's actually 7 versus 11. Yeah, I'd say it's probably a little bit more consistently high. Well, that goes with his quarterback hits. He's got 6 quarterback hits for Edmonds. You've got 5 quarterback hits for Joseph, though Joseph does have a sack. Edmonds does not. That's comparable. I just want to see somebody on the field that can make plays. And I think Joseph can make plays. Why not take a chance? It's still early in the season, but I think they like the solidness that they have in Edmonds. It's not my decision. It's theirs. And unfortunately, we can be fans and all we can do is complain about it. But thank you, Steeler Nation, for your awesome questions. That's all the time we have on the podcast today. Be sure to go to our sponsor, Total Sports Enterprises, over at tseshop.com. Check out their awesome signed goods, their awesome fun gift ideas for Christmas coming up. Go out there and get it before they get sold out of the cool stuff. Guys, for my iPhone Steeler fans, join the Steeler Nation Colorcast Revolution Mondays at 7 and follow me at SN Stryker with a Y. This week it'll be on Tuesday at 7 because Monday Night Football and I'm going to be at the game. So see us on Tuesday, 7 o'clock, Colorcast. iPhone users, download the Colorcast app from the Apple Store. It's a bunch of Steeler fans talking in a room, having a blast. Intimate chat setting, and it's fun as hell. And we always give something away for free. Just gave away a signed Bill Cowher sign last week. We gave away the signed Santonio Holmes helmet the week before. Always something fun. See you on Colorcast, guys. On Tuesdays at 1 o'clock after Mike Tomlin's presser, that is the vidcast. That's over on YouTube, Steeler Nation channel, YouTube/Steeler Nation. Check out the great Pittsburgh Sports content at dkpittsburghsports.com. And check out the great podcasts, part of the DK Pittsburgh Sports Podcast Network, both on YouTube, over on their site. A lot of great people doing a lot of great things. Of course, the Yinsers are over there as well. Great friends of them. Love them, love their show. Go check them out over there at DK Pittsburgh Sports. Read our great Pittsburgh Steeler-focused articles at SteelerNation.com. Tweet us at SteelerNation. Instagram us at SteelerNation.com. Follow the Steeler Nation podcast on Twitter at _SN Podcast or Instagram at Steeler Nation Podcast. Follow the host, Steeler Nation Stryker, on Twitter, Instagram, and Colorcast at SN Stryker, spelled with a Y. Thank you for joining us for the Steeler Nation podcast, sponsored by Total Sports Enterprises and part of the great DK Pittsburgh Sports Podcast Network. I'm your host, G. Stryker, rooting along with you as always. Go